rolling.
Ben and Emily, I'd love to know about the first conversation where they ask you about re-inhabiting these characters of Michael and Jane. Emily?
Well, the first conversation was one with Rob, where I went to meet him in his apartment in New York, and he talked about the movie, and he actually didn't really talk. I knew it was for the part of Jane, but he didn't talk specifically much about the character. He just spoke about his vision for the film, and it was just totally inspiring, as Rob always is when he speaks about anything, pretty much. But he really made me feel like I just wanted to be in the movie. In fact, I called my agents after I left the meeting and said, I just have to be part of this film, because he talked about it as something that he felt was sort of necessary in this moment that we're in now, and he wanted to bring back Mary Poppins as a kind of antidote to life. And
it's perfect timing.
And it's perfect timing, and so it was for that reason that I got just totally sort of swept up in the idea of needing to be part of it. And I'd loved the original movie hugely, and it wasn't until kind of after I'd got the job that I started to realize that I was going to have to play this this one of the most famous sort of children in cinema history as a grown-up, and how in the hell was one going to do that and do justice to that. But luckily I had Ben as my brother, and immediately that I met him, it sort of felt less daunting, because we immediately just really
started giggling.
Yeah, we just started laughing. We haven't really stopped.
Had you two ever worked together before?
No, we'd never met. No.
How is that possible?
I don't know.
I live in America. And
well, now you're forever combined together because of this movie.
Yes, even after we die.
It's true.
Well, Rob is so inspiring, and is he the kind of person that can talk anybody into anything, basically?
I think that might be true. Yeah.
Yes.
What was your situation similar, meeting with him?
Yeah, it was a lovely meeting. He was super flattering, I suppose. Like he was lovely to me, but also just a beautiful. I could tell he was just this warm, genuine, passionate man. And I thought, it'd be lovely to work with him. Even before he told me about the film and the story of the film and so on. Yeah, he's extremely lovable person. Yeah. Attractive person.
Yeah.
Your character of Michael, now that he's not a boy anymore and he's grown up, he's falling into some of the same mindsets and habits of his father. I like that touch that they added there. Was that one reason you wanted to play him?
Well, yeah, I suppose that's true. I mean, it's even though he's not really like his father, like he's a painter, but slowly over time you get dragged back into this thing and starts saying things his dad would have said. Yeah, I think I love that detail. I think it's really true to life.
So sad when he throws away the kite from the original movie. That's the moment where you go,
but not for long.
No, not forever. What about? Well, first of all, I love the cameo by Karen Dautrice.
Yes.
Did you get to meet her? Did you talk to her?
Yes. We were in the scene together, and she was fantastic. She's a great lady, and was just so thrilled to be there. And she had we were with each other as she walked onto the set of Cherry Tree Lane for the first time, and since she was a little girl, and it made her very moved, and it was really a privilege to be there while that was happening, and to see her take it all in and listen to her memories of being there all those years ago. And I had no idea until she turned up that they'd shot the original Mary Poppins on a soundstage in Los Angeles.
I didn't realize
and
that.
our one was in London, but she was in LA, and she was from London, and so she had to fly out, and her father actually at the time was in a play that my dad had adapted of I, Claudius, I think, for the stage in London, and he was talking to along with David Warner, who plays the who plays the
Admiral.
Yeah. And David Warner was telling me that he would be sitting talking to Karen Patrice's dad 54 years ago in backstage at a play that my father had written about the fact that Karen had flown to Hollywood to be in Mary Poppins.
That's amazing.
Everything links together.
Yeah.
So many spectacular sequences all throughout the movie. What was one moment where you're shooting and you think, "Wow, I can't believe I'm in the middle of this"?
Well, actually, the one that I think of is the one that I'm not in, but we both did watch the rehearsal of the dance sequence for Triple Little Light Fantastic, and because we were rehearsing in one room, and the dancers were all in another. And I remember Rob said, "Come in and just have a little look." So we all piled in. And our mouths were on the floor because we had no idea. I thought, it would just be a little, I don't know what I thought, but a little tap dance, yeah. But suddenly there are men on bikes and ramps and people are flying through the air. And it was so spectacular. I thought, oh my God, this is kind of a real musical.
Yeah.
This is like an old-fashioned
like Busby
one.
Berkeley kind of huge number, yeah.
And you get to sing solo in the movie as well.
I do, yeah.
Is that a nerve-wracking kind of a day?
Yeah. Because I'm not a singer. I've never done a musical. But Rob was a brilliant guide through that. He really taught me actually a big lesson about not worrying and just not actually trying to sing it, but to inhabit it. Inhabit the song, I suppose.
Well, he said the other day when we went to the screening that one of the things he liked about the way they were going to structure the songs was that several times the person is conversationally talking and then it just goes into the song. And that's what we see, especially on the one in the attic.
Yeah, it just comes out of a moment, a private moment for that character, for Michael at that moment. Yeah, but Rob's brilliant at that kind of thing of knitting the whole thing together. So it's all like you were saying earlier, and about what did he say again?
Oh yeah, that he said that he told us that we should think of when we were rehearsing the scenes between the songs that we shouldn't ever forget that those are kind of songs too, or like we're in a musical still, even though we're just talking to each other about our parents and the inheritance and how to deal with the house and the paying repayments or whatever. That these are kind of maybe that we shouldn't fall into sort of being in something that isn't a musical. That we've got to keep the ball in the air no matter what. And we rehearsed these scenes in between the songs to for months before we started shooting, and I think it really helps, that everything that, even when we're talking to each other, we're kind of singing, and even when we're just walking around the living room, we're kind of dancing, and that it just helped keep the kind of magic and the energy, and there's something very particular about the vibe of the whole movie, and well, he just knows how to make a musical. He knows how to put on a show, and every beat of the movie, not just the songs, was very choreographed and planned, and I think it really helped.
One of my all-time favorite performers, irrespective of your movie, is Dick Van Dyke.
Oh my gosh.
So what was it like for him to come on set and do his big scene that day? And I got to say, in our screening, he got rapturous applause when he appears on screen, when he starts to dance, and then when the scene is over, 3 times.
Well, he deserved it. I mean, that was one of those days where you're just like, I can't believe my good fortune that I'm standing here watching this. This is just once in a lifetime moment. And he came on and he had a huge amount to do. I mean, it was
so much.
It was a tour de force performance he was expected to give, and boy did he give it. I mean, he just, as you said, he came on, he made his amazing appearance, he got on a table and danced, and then he sat down and delivered this brilliant monologue that it's one of the most moving, heartbreaking moments of the film, and it's funny, and he's 90. We can't work out is he 93?
Right, about to be 92, I think.
So
next week or something like that.
So it was, and in between all this, he was entertaining us all with stories and anecdotes and just quoting Shakespeare, and I mean, he's just an amazing person.
Well, between him and Richard Sherman being a creative consultant, you get that weaving in of the past and the present. So I love that about the movie, the tribute to the past.
Yeah. Well, and also we were saying that, you know, his spirit in real life is kind of what the whole point of the movie is, which is that, you know, we've got to try to preserve the child's imagination as we get old, and life makes us want to sort of get down on our knees and cry. The only way really of kind of combating that is to keep your childish imagination and your curiosity and your and he is the living embodiment of that, and I'm sure that's why he's lived to be 92 and is still tap dancing on tables.
Well, I hear you're going to see him tomorrow night at the premiere, so that's
great.
going to be fun.
Hope so, yeah.
He has not seen the movie yet, according to Rob. He saw one little, not even his sequence, another sequence. So he's going to be seeing it for the first time.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Emily Blunt. Rob said he probably would not have done the movie had she not agreed to star. He just couldn't imagine anybody else that fit every single requirement. What was she like actually working opposite?
Formidable. Yeah, amazing.
Did she give you that Mary Poppins stare? And
well, she's a hilarious person to work with and be around, but also just a master, isn't she?
Yeah, she really is.
And effortless. You know, she was in the tent, the easy up with where we're all sat waiting to film with her baby on her knee. How old was Violet then? Not a
8
year?
months or
yes,
something. Yeah,
not even that. Yeah. Amazing. I mean, you're just in awe, really. And I agree with Rob. Like, I can't think of anybody else who would be able to do it and do it in their own way. You know, not. It's completely. It's completely Emily's creation.
Character. Yeah. I remember when she first. I don't think we had a read through, but we just started rehearsing, and I just heard that voice, and she just was that person immediately, and I was just like, oh my God, she's great, because those are scary shoes to step into, and she just, from the first day that you heard her say, she was fearless, and she'd made this character, and she just found this person, and it was brave, because she's quite a strict, sort of tough Mary Poppins, but also really kind of funny, and I think she's very sexy, Mary Poppins.
She has the warmth too. You've got the strict, but also the warmth.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Well, as we wrap up, I had one non-Mary Poppins question for you. In our prediction center for the Golden Globes, tons of people are saying you're going to win the Globe for Very English Scandal.
Oh,
God,
which
really?
was one of the best performances I saw all year.
Oh, thank you.
And I interviewed Hugh Grant a few weeks ago, and he said you and he have had a very unusual relationship over the past few movies.
Yeah.
He said I won't say what he said. But anyway, tell just a quick thought on. I'll tell you after. A quick thought.
I can imagine what he said.
A quick thought on that project and working with him.
Well, I just had a great time working with him. I think he's brilliant, but I've always thought he's brilliant. I think he's one of those overlooked people.
Well, he said in the interview,
comedies.
He started out meaning to be a character actor, and he was in several British, but then 4 Weddings and a Funeral happened, and he got cast as a leading man. He said, I always felt like I was a character actor trapped in this leading man's body.
Yeah, totally. He is that. And he's brilliant. He's a brilliant actor. He also happens to be a genius comedian. I loved working with him. I felt so ease. I just loved it, and I loved that project. And
I think you should both win. It was so brilliant.
Well, from my understanding, he's in lead and you're in supporting, so it's very possible.
Good. Can't you make that happen?
Yeah, we'll do what we can. Nominations are next week, so we'll know right away. But I think you've got a really good shot on that.
Oh well, that's
such
sweet
a
of you.
Tour de force.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. God.
I agree.
Well, thank you both.
Thank you so much.
It's a wonderful movie.
Thank you. Take care.